What's up, everyone? All right, so here we are finishing the 11th green day in a row, but this was the most difficult of the last 11 days because I started the day with one big loss. So I dropped into the red. Second trade, got myself halfway back to green. Third trade, back down even deeper into the red. Fourth trade, ALQA, squeezing up. I jumped on it, $3,700 in profit. The stock went up 200%. From $2.70 all the way up to just over $5. That was the one, got me out of the hole. So finishing in the green, which is good, but not an easy day. And I really thought I was gonna be closing today red and that this was the end of the hot streak. So, I was fortunate that we had a big mover, because if we didn't have that one big mover, that one stock, I wouldn't have had a trade that I could jump on and be aggressive on and make $3,700 on. So this was a close call, and I gotta be a little careful tomorrow. Looking at my P&L over the last few days, Thursday I made, last Wednesday I made $22,000. Then on Monday I made $4,000. Tuesday I made $2,500, and then today I'm up $1,300. So my P&L is going down each day, still green, but I don't want to go into the red. So I gotta be careful, as we finish up this month. 2 more days, just gotta hold it together. 2 more green days, finish the month, on top, and then go into December feeling good. All right, so that's the game plan. As always, you guys enjoy these videos, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I go live every morning from 9:15 to 9:30 doing the pre-market watch list. And if you have any questions, any comments, leave them below, and I'll come back through and answer them later this afternoon. All right, I'll see you guys first thing tomorrow morning. All right, everyone. So we're gonna jump in here and do the midday market recap, go over the trades from this morning. Another green day, finishing up $340.08, which is pretty good. So I'll drag this up here. I'll put it up on the screen share in 1 second. Today was the most difficult day I've had in the last, 3 weeks. I mean, this was not an easy day. I really tried to, I just have a solid day, and I started my first trade in the red. All right, I'm just gonna close that. There we go. If you have an echo, just try refreshing, and it should be able to, the echo should go away. I see ALQA making a move up towards high a day. 93 was the highs. Just type this one in here, ALQA. There's high a day, $5. Look at that squeeze. 440 right up to 5. I mean, that is almost picture perfect. This consolidation that we were having earlier this morning, and now breaking out into a break of high a day. On this one, I'm up $3,728. So, green on ALQA, but red on the other 2 stocks I traded. Despite the fact that I'm only green on 1 out of 3 stocks this morning, I am still green on the day, which is really solid. And I think that speaks to, in part, the profit-loss ratio, always striving to have the winners exceed the losers. And also, just the fact that we're in a market where when one stock takes off, we do get a pretty big opportunity. ALQA, it's up 204%. And, those of you guys that just hit it on this breakout, good job. That's 50-60 cents of profit. As you see this consolidating here, the longer it consolidates, eventually, if it keeps this consolidation, it will break out. So, why did it break out here instead of right here? Right here, it popped up, looked like maybe it was going to go, and then it flushed all the way back down to 4. And sometimes these just kind of have to try a couple of times before they finally break out. And we don't know that it's going to be here, or that it might not be until, down here. I mean, there's not an exact science to when they're going to break out. So you have to kind of sit and watch and, just keep these guys on really close watch until they finally make that move. So great job for those of you guys that took that trade. I love seeing you guys making money on these even when I'm already done for the day, because it just reminds me that you guys have learned the strategy. You're independent traders, and that's what I love. So this morning I had kind of a little bit of a scattered watch list. I had a number of stocks that I was watching. As you can see here, S&P 500, oops, there we go. S&P 500 this morning, a gap up in the overall market. So when the overall market gaps up, we often have a lot of gappers on our small cap scanner. And that's because a lot of these stocks are going to trade with a little bit of sympathy just to the overall market. It's that rising tide lifting all ships type of thing. So where yesterday we only had 28 stocks on this gap scanner, today we had, closer to 40. Now that's still, a great opportunity to whittle down from 10,000 stocks to trade down to a small handful, but we need to whittle it down even further. Leading gapper this morning, GPIC. This one was gapping up 73%, but the headline is it's a takeover, a merger. It's not going to be volatile, so no trades there. ALQA was the second leading gapper. We had it on the watch list this morning at $2.55. It's now up 200%. So we knew this stock was going to be in play this morning. Let me try to switch my mic here for the chat room, or the old chat room. Let's see. Not sure why the audio is not coming through there. I'll just turn this off and turn it back on. There we go. Okay. So, sorry about that. So anyways, this was on the watch list this morning. I mean, we knew it had potential. Unfortunately, right out of the gates, it kind of sold off. It opened a little bit lower versus the pre-market high. It pulled back a little bit. It did a red to green move to 277, then came all the way back down to 227. And then it popped back up to 277 again, and then it came back down. So I was sort of watching it, not sure it was really going to be in play. But it was on the watch list this morning, and I did end up taking trades on it. Now let's go to the next one. Okay, DTRM, too cheap. FFHL on the watch list, and I ended up taking a couple trades on this one. What a disappointing move. I mean, just absolutely hideous. It's very, very disappointing. So on this one, I saw it starting to squeeze up, and I was already a little unsure whether or not I wanted to trade it, just because the stock has a little bit of a history of popping up and dropping, as you can see on this red day here with the red volume. You can see back here on these days and these days. But the bell rings and it starts to squeeze up, 280, 270, 280, 290. And so I jumped in right here. It pulled back for a second, and as it surged up, I jumped in with 9,000 shares at $3. It pops up to a high of 317, 320, and I sold at 316 and 315, and then added back at 315 and 316 about 30 seconds later. It pulled back for a second, and then it surged up here to a high of 320. And in the next candle, I'll pull this down to a 10-second chart just so you can see how violent this drop was. In a period of less than 10 seconds, it goes from a high of 320 to 309, and then here to 294, and then right here all the way down to $2.50. So right there, this stock dropped 75 cents. I mean, that's a 20% drop in 3 minutes, or in 30 seconds. So on that one, I'm back in at 315, and then I end up stopping out at 59 and 60. I go from being up $1,300 on the name to down $1,100. And that was, there's nothing really more frustrating than going from nicely green to, a fairly big loss. But that's what happened. And this is now at $2. So a really ugly move, just a harsh rejection up here. Not sure exactly why it happened, but that was very disappointing. So, and that was my second loss of the day. So at this point, this was off the watch list this morning, but clearly did not hold up. There wasn't really anything else on the watch list. CLRO was sort of interesting, a few others, but nothing I was watching very closely. The only other one was TNXP. Now, TNXP was a reverse split. So we know the reverse split setup that we've seen on a couple other stocks can give us big moves. So on this one, I was wanting to jump in it if it started to squeeze up. The bell rings and it starts to squeeze up. So I went ahead and jumped in it. Move this over. The bell rings, it squeezes up. I jumped in it at 474 and 475, 3,500 shares. It pops up to a high of 485 and 486, and then on this candle drops all the way down to 441, and I'm in here at 75. So I'm down 30 cents on 3,000 shares. That's a roughly $900 loss, and then it drops here all the way down to $4, and I end up stopping out some of it here and some of it down here. And on that trade, I lost about $2,500. I mean, I got slammed down. It just did not hold that level at all, and I had to eat the loss. So very first trade of the day, I'm down more than $2,000 within the first minute. And this is a day where I decided to keep trading. I have a daily max loss of $2,000. If I'm down more than $2,000, generally my rule is to walk away and be done. Today, because I lost $2,000 in this just washout in the first minute of the day, I felt like, on the one hand, rules are rules. I'm down, I'm red, I should just walk away. On the other hand, it doesn't mean that there won't be good opportunities later in the morning. We're only 1 minute into the day. And so I said, you know what? I've made $56,000 in the last 10 days of trading. I am red right now, but let's see the day through and see if something else pops up. So I sat for a few minutes, just kind of sitting tight, and then that's when the FFHL trade came. So on the first, my first trade on it, I made $1,300, and I went from being down, 2,500 to being down only 1,200. So I was like, all right, solid. And then on the second trade, I lost 1,100. So now I'm down, $3,500, and I'm just like, this is frustrating. I'm red on 2 stocks, 2 winners, 1 loser, 2 losers, 1 winner. And I'm thinking, all right, well, what should maybe I should be done for the day. And I see ALQA pop up, and we had it on watch. I see it break over the flat top of 277. And as I saw it, at that level just before the break, I was like, well, it looks interesting. But look at how it flushed down here and here. I don't want to buy it here and then have it drop again. I'm just going to wait for the first pullback. Well, it goes from 277 to 306, 324, 360, and gets halted on a circuit breaker. Now, as it started to squeeze up right around 340, I started looking for the levels where it would potentially get halted. So remember on Sterling Trader, let's see, let me find a stock that I can see it on. I can see the levels where stocks will get halted. So this CLRO will get halted going down at $1.13 and will get halted going up at $1.69. So I saw those levels on ALQA, and I saw that the halt was going to be at 60, I think it was 61. Yeah, 61. And it was, as it was squeezing up, I was like, okay, I think this is going to go into the halt. And when they halt going up, they usually open higher. And this has a resistance at 385. And then above that level, no resistance. So I jumped into it going into the halt right here at 48, 48, and 46, and tried to add going into the halt. I was aggressive on share size, but very confident on the trade. And I was 100% right. It opens, it hits a high of 380. I end up taking profit right in here and then adding back as it surges up right here through $4. So on this one, I just did a bunch of scalp trades, buying pullbacks, selling into the squeezes, buying the pullback, selling into the squeezes, and that got me up a total of $3,700. So, I traded through this one, got some good gains on it, and then I also took 2 more trades on TNXP and recouped some of my initial losses. My second trade was a red to green setup right here. As it started to squeeze up, I bought it going into this halt. This ended up opening and dropping and halting going down, but then I got back out of it right in this area as it came back up. So that one ended up not really being a loser. I think it was like break even. And then I got back in it here as it squeezed up again
and sold up here in the 80s and 90s, and then the rest as it came back down. So I recovered like $1,200 on TNXP, FFHL. I didn't trade again, and so today it felt like a very a lot of hard work to get myself up $1,300 because I went into the red and had to dig myself out of the hole. It is a day where I broke the rules because I traded past my max loss. And I think that because, ALQA was certainly worth it because that made a big move. FFHL, just made the loss bigger. And that one, I don't know. I took that trade and I was skeptical on the stock and took it anyways. The first trade was a winner. And then I got back into it and just very unexpected to have that type of drop. So, gave back my profits plus lost $1,100. I don't know. I'm going to finish the day in the green. So that's good, but it wasn't the easiest day. And, definitely a close call. This was almost a red day. I would say, in hindsight, what could I have done differently? TNXP, I jumped into it right out of the gates, but I did that because it was breaking the high of pre-market. The pre-market high was 450. It broke that level. It was squeezing up. Reverse split stocks. This is a setup that we trade quite a bit. We see usually good follow through. Today, I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't the right day for this stock. I'll be red on it today. And, it is what it is. I don't know if I would really have traded this one any differently. My size wasn't outrageously large. It just ended up, really flushing down right there. So that was TNXP, FFHL. I wouldn't really have done anything that much differently on this one either. This was, a whole dollar break of 3. Adding at 315 was risky. But at this point, when I added, I knew it didn't have any resistance on the daily till 366. So I saw a good amount of potential there for a move higher. This drop here is unexpected. ALQA, it was certainly aggressive to add where I added at 350, but I expected it was about to get halted. Momentum was really, coming into it. I didn't want it to drop below 61, and it came back down and dropped all the way to 23, which was a pretty steep drop, but then it surged right back up. So not the easiest. I don't think I made a mistake by selling here and then adding back. Holding the whole thing from 50 down to 23 would have been too much risk, too much in the red. So I did the right thing there, booked my profit, and then got back in as it surged up, got out, got back in. $3,700 is pretty good, considering the way this move took place. But this is a combination of a flat top breakout on this stock and a red to green move, which is pretty powerful. Remember a couple days ago on ANY, we had a really nice red to green move right here, which was part of why I took the trade on TNXP as it was giving us that red to green setup, because I thought maybe it would do something like this. ALQA, I wasn't as confident in initially, but once it took off and really started to move, I definitely was feeling better about it. So yeah, a bit of a choppy day. For all the trades I took, and I've probably got about 100 of them here, my commissions are going to be on the high side, and at the end of the day, green is good, but I really had to work for it today. So I've got to be mindful of the fact that my profits over the last 4 days have been decreasing. I made, let's see, on last Wednesday, I made $22,000 right there, let's say. On Monday, I made $4,000, so right there. Tuesday, I made $2,600 right here. And now today, I was almost at a red day, but I was able to recover and finish up, $1,300. So, what's going to happen tomorrow? Got to be careful. I don't want to see this trend continue and then end up having a red day tomorrow. I want to, at worst, have a couple of small green days or maybe small red days before, the next big green day. So that's something that I'm kind of aware of in my own equity as I, write this on the calendar and put it in the books here. It's a green day, but it was a close call. I had to break a rule to get myself out of the hole. The times I am most likely to trade past max loss is when I hit my max loss in the first 3 to 5 minutes of the day. Because the reality is there's still so much time left in the day to potentially get out of the hole. If you have enough of a cushion in your account to risk that trade number 4 could put me even further in the red, then it's a risk reward kind of analysis. And for me, I certainly have the cushion in my account to be able to sustain a red day. So if I had ended up finishing the day down $4,000, I can recover from it. I know that I can, both financially and just, mentally. So, I sort of stay within my mental comfort zone. Anything down more than $5,000-$6,000 is getting pretty bad for me. Definitely more than 10,000 is a bad day. And the ways I've gotten myself down like $10,000 were setups like a TNXP, where I ended up, taking my starter at 74 and 75, and then adding at 80. What was the high here? 86. Adding at 86, adding at 85, and having like 9,000 shares right here, and then boom, it drops going down, and maybe it halts going down, resumes lower, and next thing you know, I'm selling it down here for a $13,000 loss. That's the scenario of having the big loss. It's a similar scenario though that gives me the big winners, which would be what was this? TNXP or INPX, where I add for the breakout and then double. So I do have the 9,000 shares. And then it squeezes up here and it's a $9,000 to $20,000 winner. This was a $22,000 green day. So, you got to take the bad with the good. You can't separate them. This is part of trading, dealing with the emotional ups and downs. You guys know after those first 2 trades this morning, I was feeling a little frustrated. I had to take a breath, take a sip of tea, and just say, you know what? If today ends up being a red day, disappointing as it is, I can recover from it. Just step back, A quality or nothing. And I was pretty much prepared after those 2 trades that I was done for the day, because the reality was we weren't feeling it. We weren't seeing the big breakouts. We weren't seeing the big moves. And it's always better to just finish the day, down $4,000 than down $8,000. And it's not worth taking trade 4, 5, 6, and 7 if there isn't something moving. But the fact that ALQA made as big of a move as it did justified taking that next trade. And so for those of you guys that may have still been in the red and then decide to take this trade here, I would say that was the right move. This was the right type of stock to, go back for another trade on, and you got that breakout. If you had taken a stab here and lost on both of them, and then you took another stab here, at a certain point, you do have to know when to walk away. But I think today I made the right move by sticking it out. But I did know that this was either going to be a good sized red day or a pretty small green day. It was kind of one or the other, and I was able to get myself into the green. So that's good. 11th green day in a row. I'll mark that down as well. So the hot streak continues. I guess now about $57,000 in the last 11 days. 2 more days left in November. I'd really like to finish up with 2 more green days. I've got right now 2 red days on the month, which is pretty good, for sure, to only have 2 red days. I kind of allocate 1 red day a week, down about $2,000. And this month I've just been a little ahead of schedule, or kind of above my average, by not having 4 red days at this point, but only 2. But like I said, today was a close call. We still have 2 days left, so I got to stay focused, try to finish up this month in really good shape. Really don't want to give back a lot of that profit. Just try to finish green and then go into December feeling good. All right, so that's the game plan. We'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning, and I will see you guys in the chat room around 9:15 for our pre-market analysis. All right, I'll see you guys there.
If you're still watching, you must have really enjoyed that video. So why not subscribe and get email alerts anytime I upload new content? Remember, when you subscribe, you become a member of the Warrior Trading family.